Hello. This is Jim Porter Casey. Going live in eastern Georgia. Gonna go live maybe about an hour today. Chat's open. Y'all come on in. We're on some nice back roads. They're narrow 2 lanes, but there's not a lot of traffic. So even without shoulders, you almost never meet in head-on traffic, opposing traffic. I got a beautiful, beautiful sunshiny day. The weather is perfect. It's a nice temperature, probably about 60 to 65. Not even any breeze right now. There is a light breeze depending on what direction I'm pointed. But I thought it'd be nice to, instead of focusing on the city areas, we'll look at the some of the country areas today. Looks like there's a lot of lumber production on the coast in general, and a lot of pine trees that are on plantation type farms out here. Something's kind of noisy. There it is. Must be time to put some oil on the chain. That's the chain. Anyhow, we'll do that a little later today. I couldn't have been blessed with better weather for this entire trip. And I know I've talked about it before, but you know, when I headed out to Missouri, I got a 10-day stretch with no rain. Or one day, I think there was one day when there was rain, and I managed to be at a place where I could get under a bridge for a while. I actually spent the night at that place. But it wasn't enough rain to flood, so. And it was in the springtime. Of course, up on the Appalachians, out in the woods during the hot times. So it was nice and cool. By the time August hit, I'm up in Monson in the cool woods, finishing out the AT. And ever since I left out on Millinocket, from Millinocket on Cool Roadster 2. The weather has just been as good as I could ask for. I don't think I've had more than 3 or 4 days of rain since August. And it hasn't been too hot or too cold. Been a little chilly the last couple of mornings, but now today it's warming up again. I was looking at the forecast down in Key West. Of course, it's still about 700 or 800 miles till I get to Key West, but they're going up into 80 and 85 degrees right now. And I've been able to realize the difference in temperatures and not as much fall foliage as I'm going further south. So it's definitely warmer, but then I'm looking at the maps and I'm like, wow, I can't believe I'm already almost halfway down the Georgia coast, and Jacksonville's not that far into Florida. So onward we going. The mic on this GoPro was hotter than it was on the old one. And that's good because it's picking up my voice a whole lot better. And it's also picking up that noisy chain. I don't know where that's coming from. I hadn't noticed that. Maybe coming from the back end even. Don't think anything's tore up, so we're not going to worry about it till we stop, and we'll take a look at it. Stop for the day, we'll put some oil on it. Thing I've noticed all the way, really since Maine, but in the rural areas, it's amazing how many abandoned residences and homes there are. They get old, I guess, and rather than rebuild them or renovate them, I think people just move out of them. Like this one I just passed on the left. Now you see there's a regular residence here on the left shortly thereafter. And a lot of times I suppose that's likely that the new residence is a result of leaving that one, the abandoned one. That you can hear the gear shifting too there every time. So it's kind of loud compared to what I'm hearing when I'm not using my earbuds. I got my buds connected to Bluetooth so I can hear the chat when somebody drops in. And then I'm also listening to the navigator. So I don't even have to look at the screen unless you know, it's something that's not exactly, the instructions are sometimes not plain. You have to stop and make sure that the right-handed turn that goes left is really just the other right, or vice versa. The app doesn't always understand exactly what's going on when someone makes a little, if the route makes a little cut to one side and then turns and go back in the other direction. And I've been listening to tunes this morning before I decided I would go live for a while. Got my Sirius satellite radio going. But it doesn't want to compete with the app. The app shuts it down, or it shuts down the app, so they don't cooperate. The navigator cooperates with the stream. So it cuts in. And even the keeping Twitch on the monitor so I can make sure that I can see what's going on, make sure the video's running. And one thing that encouraged me to go ahead and do a little live today was it looks like it got a very strong signal, even though we're out here in a rural area. This is a long stretch without much anything going on. There's not any really dense population that I'm aware of, certainly not on this road. And so we're just gonna go with it today. You got cell towers, well, you can see them. I don't know if the GoPro's picking them up there on the left. Looks like there's 2 cell towers. But man, this is as good as it gets. A nice road, quiet, country lane, beautiful weather. Got Spanish moss hanging in the trees. Good news about the chilly weather too is yesterday and this morning and night before last didn't have the mosquitoes, but I've been the last 2 weeks the mosquitoes have been swarming. Especially in the evening. I guess all this so much swampy area, and looks like we're moving a little bit out of the swampiness, and then I look over here on the other side and it looks kind of swampy over there, but on the left it doesn't look quite as swampy. Not like Alligator Alley either way, that's for sure. Had a little extra time this morning. I went ahead and turned the back over to finish truing the back end after putting the new spoke in it. Back in Savannah, I only put it into place and put enough tension on it to distribute the load, but I felt it would be a good idea to back off the other spokes that I'd over tightened, compensated, while I was on the way into Savannah. The one thing you don't want is a wobbly back end, even if the spokes are too tight. It's better if it's closer to true, and then that way the bounce and the harmonic wobble is less likely to break the spokes than if you don't do that. But it's a tough call. You gotta do it. Had to get into Savannah, visit the bike shop there. I think it was called Perry Rubber. The good folks there had the things I needed, and got it figured out and put the spoke on, but they didn't have a wheel builder, as he called it, to do the true work. And plus I like to do those kinds of things myself. I save a little money like that. I like to support the bike shops, the specialty shops, the outfitters and whatnot, but I also have to stay inside my own boundaries, live within my means. Got a motorcycle group coming at us. It's like a group of 4, 5. I saw them going in the other direction. I think they passed me a couple hours ago. Maybe about the same configuration with the 5 and the trike in the back there. But seen motorcycle groups a few times. Now, what I hadn't seen is any more bicycle groups, probably since don't know, maybe Pennsylvania. Although they said there were going to be some Olympic training going on the Greenway in North Carolina. Gotta help them, because there's not a lot of areas with bike lanes and shoulders in North Carolina. It's almost as bad as South Carolina. There are a few places, but nowhere near what it ought to be. Now here in Georgia, I've at least had a shoulder, and the day before yesterday when I stopped, or was it yesterday? No, it was the day before yesterday, because I took yesterday off more or less. The day before yesterday when I stopped, it was at a point where it looked like I was fixing to get into some heavy traffic that was going to be stressful, and didn't have much of a shoulder. But it was only a couple hundred yards before I had a dedicated bike lane, and that was really nice as I continued on out of Savannah. Because I had one thing too is I had a long way to go, and that made it a whole lot easier and quicker when you're not overly burdened with worrying about the traffic coming up behind you. Bike lane. Now, this is not a bike lane per se. This shoulder's only, what is it, 18 inches, maybe 2 feet in some places. But it's a world of difference. If this was a busy road, this would be a potential lifesaver just to have this much. And it's all the better that the road is not busy. So there again, it's just really a nice ride today. More swampy areas, left hand. There's a little bit of a shoulder. I wouldn't have to roll off into the swamp at least. That is to say, off of the roadway shoulder. And the alligators would have to come up out of it to get me if they wanted me. If they're in there. I hadn't seen any, but they keep giving indications that they're probably some around. It's sort of like up on the Appalachian Trail. They're worrying about the bears. Look out for the bears. Don't feed the bears. And finally I did see one. But I only saw one, and that one clearly did not want to tangle. That's one bad thing when you got a warning track that takes up the entire paved part of the shoulder, and you can't use it. You just can't ride on that. Bad enough if you have to cross it every once in a while, but you really should avoid that too. And if it is a shoulder as wide as this one is, and if the warning track extends all the way into it, you're forced to get back on the road, into the road, and then the vehicles are wondering why you're not over on the right. And probably a little frustrating when they see that. Might make the situation that much worse because they're thinking, oh, you know, you're gonna bear right and get off the road when they come up behind you, but you can't do it unless it's, you know, really going to be a close one. Most people are going to move out to the left and go around you by 8 or 10 feet at least, and that's the good news about these 2 lanes when they're not busy. They can generally do that with no problem. And I got one coming behind me, almost gonna get a squeeze play, but not quite. These lanes are a little wider too, so he had room and I had room and the other one had room. Somebody can still make a mistake, but by and large, just a little bit of buffer zone makes a world of difference in terms of safety. Now I'm getting some headwind. ECG, familiar symbol. Now we're in the right place. I mean, not a cloud in the sky. It's a little shame now. I've got a shady road, which is nice not to be in the sun, but I'd rather be picking up some solar power to recharge the battery. But I'm in pretty good shape right now. I did take a Nero day yesterday. I still ended up driving back about 8 miles, but was able to recharge the battery, relax a little bit. Now the ride paused itself, so I guess I'm going to have to try to figure out what just happened there. A little bounce sometimes will cause the app to change its function for some reason. Let's see. Okay. And looks like Well, looks like everything kind of got shot down all at once. Had to make sure my connection was on there. I'm still live though. Somebody left some donuts on the side of the road. There's some sunshine ahead. Get some more electricity. This is one of those places where for some reason the app has drawn the route down the other side of the road, even though it's pointed in the right direction, and it keeps chiming in, trying to tell you, just 20 feet, maybe less, from the route that's drawn. But it thinks I'm not on course. But it's kind of weird like that. There's some sunshine for the solar power. Getting some dropouts now. I sent a nasty email to my premium service provider, but of course they're not going to respond to that till Monday. See what they have to say. Today it's ironically out in the boonies. I've got a better signal than I did in the middle of Savannah. So I'm kind of messed up about that. I think if I was in Savannah, I'd be raising cane. Maybe it's that residence is out here. I don't know if they've got landline digital and So the cell towers are that much more important. But whew. I'm gonna stop just a second here to look at my map. Oh, look, a historic marker. Well, let's look at the historic marker. Skirmish in Bolttown Swamp, November 1778. Lieutenant Colonel James Mark, Prevost, with 100 British regulars and 300 refugees and Indians under McGirth, crossed the Altamaha River and moved into Georgia, killing or taking prisoner all men they found and ravaging the plantations. Continental troops and militia marched against them near the spot where the Savannah Territorial Road crossed the swamp. A detachment of mounted militia, John Baker commanded, met and fought a delaying action with the invaders. Colonel Baker, Captain Cooper, and William Golding were wounded. So this was a Revolutionary War skirmish. Interesting. So let's see here. I need to. That, I know I said an hour, but I think we're going to call it right there for today, and then we'll save a little battery for the next round. This is Jim Porter Casey. I'm on the East Coast Greenway, headed towards Brunswick, Georgia, and after Brunswick on to Jacksonville, and then on to Key West, Florida. Thanks for checking this video. And I'll be going live again in an hour or so, as often as I can right now, depending on weather and how the batteries hold up and terrain and all those things. You all have a good day.